welcome back. Yesterday was my birthday, so I now have a second monitor, which means I can actually see this being recorded and don't get anxious that I may have accidentally not pressed the record button. Get in. February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number is. That is. Well, I have to have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here to hear what you have to say. It's the first time he's ever done something like this. Yeah, he's actually listening to us and bothering with us. In fact, that's a fib. He has in the past pushed for people to respond to questions, even though they didn't have to get them to answer our questions, which has only made it stronger for the defense. Like, he knew he was making his clients or helping you get people made, like, guilty, even though he was supposed to be, you know, prosecuting and proving that your person is the guilty person. I have really dirty glasses. That's a good point to have a bit of explanation on what's happening is when I'm cleaning my face. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright? This is it. If I'm ever gonna find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. Oh. Poor Emma's gonna have to, be a witness in this, and I feel so bad for her. February 25th, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Oh, this bastard. I remember he made, this. He made this case so much harder because he basically says, I refuse to let you, badger my witnesses or push them too much. So, if you're going to say something, it has to be 100% right, and if it's not, then you fail and screw you. I think it's him that does this anyway, otherwise it's a different game, the final turnabout, and you're only allowed to press on the one statement or present evidence on the one statement. But I remember this one being infinitesimally harder than the last 4 Turnabouts. And yeah, I think it's literally because in this one, you've got a lot more freedom to sort of run around, and you have to present things to people now. And in like the previous 4, you couldn't really present much. And when you did, it was just like, why you show me this, bud, sort of thing. Whereas in this one, there are instances where sharing things with people actually freaking has a difference. So it opened up this new thing of presenting things. And also in this one, I think you can present profiles as well. Also, the new mechanic of you dusting the screen for fingerprints and doing the luminal testing and stuff like that. So yeah, I remember this trial being really difficult, so that'll be fun. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, OG, been back in the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. Ha! That's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office. No, Lana. You can't. Sorry, my dog just ran under my legs and just decided to sit there. He's doing it again. Lister, baby! No! Ow, 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 ow. Move. Sorry, my dog decided to run under my legs and was lifting them because he was slowly just standing up. Yeah, and it was like setting off like pain in my back from my sciatica, so they are now in prison for their crimes. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. Prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. The request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant object. Someone object. Thank Fook for that. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gaunt. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Oh dear. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Ms. Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Oh, Emma. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave him fast. Yeah, the judge always just sort of acts like he's not the authority in the room who can, like, call breaks and make people not allow evidence and shit like that. He's just like, oh, well, you've said I should do this, and you said it firmly, so I'm gonna give it to you. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Poor Emma. Witness testimony 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination. Cross-examination, 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me. Well, I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. This is the only bit that's actually fucking relevant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark just then. The lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed, again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman. The victim. Yeah, hear more. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Picture. Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? No. This picture, the witness drew. I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Well, this would be bloody interesting, wouldn't it? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. Right, hang on. I can go to present. Because we know that Edgeworth did not get the full list. Oh, have I never, like... Oh. A picture is drawn on the back of the evidence list in magic marker. I've got a very bad feeling about this. Oh, sugar. Can I... Is that literally all I can do with it? I was thinking it would be in the list. Okay. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet, you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold. This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes. What is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed, two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge to have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order, order. But Miss Skye, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor. Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even need to ask? Look at his face. The whole world is quaking around him. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper. Evidence list restored and updated in the court record. Very well, witness. Will you please testify about the picture you drew 2 years ago? Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. I reckon that Gumshoe got the idea to do the blue badger face from seeing this, and what she was drawing was actually the vase. Emma's picture. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. That picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. Cross-examination, Emma's picture. I remember this because I'm smart. This picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright I could see all the shadows. After that I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. So, exactly what she saw? Interesting, right? Interesting. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating you somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I'd better watch out, or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well. Yes. That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. Okay. I think I know what it is. But I quickly want to see the entire thing. I'm going to check this, because now it's been built into... What? I think that is the vase, to be fair, but I don't know why she's got it hovering above this sort of archway. Unless she's drawn the archway and Gumshoe has drawn this in the middle, which is... it's just so bad. If not, stabbed in the back and died from a puncture. Oh. Weapon found in the wound was missing a tip. Okay, so this is the thing I'm going to present, because they're saying it was clearly right, so I'm going to let them do the speaking for me. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? I'm gonna show you. Firstly, the tip is blunt. And the point of the tip was apparently found in the wound. So, unless she saw this as the pulling out moment, then it shouldn't be blunt. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. Objection! And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Yes, there is. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, Wright. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Order, order, order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place on the day of the murder. Let's go. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Joe Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained away by simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Ah ha 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 ha. Okay, I can't present this one because that one doesn't have it in it. This one. This one has the thing in? Yeah, this one. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here, inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding? That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was, in all likelihood, from this award. Order, order, order. Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. It's a halberd. Sorry, just throw that out there. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Oh. Oh. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. It's Lana. Oh, it's not. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back. I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness testimony. Would you please tell us what you recall, Miss Skye? Yes, Your Honour. First the knife mix-up, and now the blue badger. This should be interesting. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning. And that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Oh. This is certainly most unusual. Yeah, especially since the blue badger did not exist at this time. Try impossible. The chief detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Well, yes, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop. Please, don't pursue this any further. Lana, what's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Skye. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Oh. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Yeah. Emma's recollection. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Let's press it. What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all kind of a blur. Miss Skye was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then what happened next? Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. No, I swear this is the jar. The mysterious blue badger was, in fact, this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint. I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Oh, yeah, okay. I feel like this is it. Or flipped? No, it has to be this way. Because that's where the top point is. Right? Right? This isn't right. I've got to make it look more like the budget. Okay. Allow me to remind the defense its case hinges on the witness's drawing. Mr. Wright can't match the shape the witness drew. We cannot accept his claim. I've got to find just the right angle. Maybe I should rotate it vertically a bit more, or horizontally. Come on, Mr. Wright, you can do it. I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Okay. Alright. Oh. Well, I just did it upside down. Right? If I do that. Right? This isn't right. Gotta make it look more like the badger. I'm having a problem here. I swear to God, this is the answer. I'm just shit at this. Okay. Okay. Do I just present it exactly like this? No, because then it doesn't have a top spike. What am I supposed to do with this? Right? This isn't right. Oh. I'm literally gonna look up how to make this look like the blue badger. Because I know that's the answer and I'm just gonna keep fooking it up. What is this? Phoenix, Wright, Ace Attorney, blue badger, jaw rotate. Let's see what that comes up with. Oh, there's literally a video that takes 18 seconds to show me how to do this. I was right the first freaking time. I was right the first freaking time. Okay, okay, okay. All right, yes. Okay. So I need to make this bit at the front. And then rotate it down. This is what it's just shown me. This. It isn't right. It isn't right. What? Okay, okay. So I need the blood splatter to be at the front. How am I doing this so wrong? Okay. So spin it so that this faces the front. Is it... Why is it slightly oddly like... Oh, okay. Okay. Huh, 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 huh. Right? This feels correct. It looks correct compared to this. Why? 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 That was right. That was right on that one. I'm gonna keep doing it without you having to watch me do it until I get it the right angle. The very next time I did it, spot on. I cannot believe this. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. No, it can't be. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. It was so much easier on the DS, probably because you had a stylus to just sort of tweak it ever so slightly and stuff. But I remember getting that right on the first time. That was a nightmare. And I swear, if I'd have played this and I did that several times, I may have, like, taken a step back, saved the game, and looked at other ways, other things that could have happened, because that was a crime. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. It doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgware. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. What's the difference now we know the witness saw this jar? Let's see, because the jar is in the picture. No, it's still the same murderer. It's still the same murder weapon because it was a stab. So it must be the location. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? From lying on the ground. Where? The location of the jar is shown in this picture, taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened the other side of the room in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Well, there is. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The logical conclusion is that there was a reason. You know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armour, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armour was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. Don't know if I can go through with this. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall, you mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Yep. I never imagined their testimony would lead to this. So it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but I've given the circumstances. Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. Well, if you remember, I was saying the jar looked like it had her name written on it earlier in blood, so let's go. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. You certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased? Does such a message exist? I've got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the evidence. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Yeah, it's this jar. This is the message left by the deceased. This is the blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he going to just speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message left here on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here. Drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these dots. And the victim's message will become apparent. No. Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us, Your Honor? I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. I've got to connect these dots to make letters. There's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstance. His murderer's name. Alright. So, yeah? Click. Click. This is a bit dumb. Because, like, who's gonna believe? Oh, am I not drawing that one? Alright, cool. Yep, sure. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. Seaworthy. Can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gaunt. Do you understand the implications of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of this final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Grag! But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer, that's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We are defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order, 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 order! I'm not shouting. The gavel's poundings fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. Oh, to be continued. We're going to end it here. Thank you for staying and playing. I hope you have a great day, and I shall see thee soon.